Hello, and welcome to the Surgical Assistant Podcast, a podcast crafted by surgical assistants for surgical assistants, where professionalism meets passion. Hello, and welcome back to the Surgical Assistant Podcast. I'm John, and with me is Kelly. Hey, Kelly.
Hey there.
And we have a great guest today. We're joined today by Christopher Sweebe, who's a CSFA and founder and CEO of Precision Surgical Resources. Chris has spent more than 2 decades in the operating room, and his path has taken him through being a paramedic, a firefighter. He was in the U.S. Air Force. He worked in surgical services at Keesler Air Force Base. So this is someone who hasn't just studied the healthcare system from the outside. He's lived it from the inside in a lot of different forms. He's still active in the OR today, and he's built PSR to solve a problem a lot of independent surgical assistants know well. How do you stay independent without getting buried in the business side of the job? So Chris, thanks for being here. And
thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And I guess I'll start off with a question. Like, what was the problem you were trying to solve when you started PSR?
In the beginning, as a brand new first assistant, I think we're all looking for information. I think the number one thing I was looking for, and you searched online for a billing company, you start looking into malpractice insurance, things like that. And then from there, I have my doctors, we have a good relationship, it's this hospital or that surgery center. And then from there, where do we go? What do we do next?
And so you're talking in terms of being independent, right? Of moving from a hospital employee or a facility employee into being an independent FA, right?
Correct. And a lot of people, again, the idea is there. It's just, there's a lot more that goes into it. It's not just billing or contracts or understanding the difference between a CPT and an ICD for codes. It's the whole picture the first assistant has to be aware of. And when we first start, I don't think any of us really know for sure what the next full step is. And that's why we built Precision, is to help everybody know their options.
That's great, because it sounds like in this space, there is so much misinformation out there. Like everybody knows, I travel, and I've gone to so many hospitals, and I've talked to surgical first assistants, and they always tell me, well, we can't bill insurance. And I'm like, well, that's not really true. I mean, you can bill, you won't get reimbursed. But so there's companies out there that I think have cracked the code on getting surgical first assistants reimbursed, like All Starz. And I think it sounds like, from the background I read and the information I read about your company, it sounds like you can usher people through that whole process and all the steps along the way it would take for you to go to build your own independent first assistant business, is what I'm getting by reading your website and hearing about what you do. So would you want to just talk a little bit about the model that you guys use? How could you help a surgical first assistant become independent?
Sure. Like you said, we do partner with All Starz. That's a great company. And I use their terms in our bag of tools, right? When an assistant goes independent, there's a very long runway of things that have to happen. If it's starting an LLC, finding a CPA, what about insurance? What about billing? What about collections? What do we do from there? What about quarterly taxes? What Precision does is we educate the first assistant, show them the options that I've taken 20 years to find, and put it into a streamlined process where that runway is shortened a lot. And again, the things that we offer, it doesn't have to only be those things that somebody wants to use. Again, I use my background in 20 years in the business trying to figure out who are the best people to be with to keep your practice up and running. So
we know there are a lot of variables. And like John said, there's a lot of misinformation. So many of us, and this is why we want to get these episodes out there. We want to be informative. We want to get this information out there for people to listen to. And they're not listening to our opinion. They're listening to facts, hearing from someone experienced like yourself that's been doing this for a couple of decades. And you started, on your own investigating, wanting to, becoming independent and going through all these steps and realizing there was a need for, it sounds to me like you've rolled like a consultation. You're a business consultant.
It kind of is.
Yeah. Rolled into, you've combined being a business consultant, rolled into, hey, and also we're going to practically, hey, do the footwork for a fee, because we're a business. We're going to make money for a fee. We're going to do all the headache legwork for you that, frankly, I would have no idea. And Honestly, I don't want to. I don't want the headache of dealing with insurance companies and having an attorney on retainer and going through all these things that I can't even imagine. You're kind of rolling that all into one service for the first assistant that wants to be independent. And so I think there are a lot of variables, and some of those variables are what state you practice in, what the payer mix is, what the insurance situation is. And I know before we started recording, we talked about that area. You're in Mississippi. I was in Alabama for nearly 30 years. And I know that's not a good state. In my experience, was not a good state to find a job as a first assistant. Definitely, I couldn't see going independent there because to me, there's just a big Blue Cross Blue Shield black cloud over Alabama as far as from what my understanding of it was. And I may be wrong in that understanding. So walk us through what it takes when we talk about having on the ground level of it, the relationships with surgeons that we work with and assist, but also getting credentialed at facilities and just kind of starting, that way, how you would walk a first assistant that might reach out to you, how you would walk them through the process and what it will look like.
From the beginning, when either people reach out to us or we run into them, however the connection's made, one of the first things we do ask is about that relationship with the surgeon, because again, they're going to be your advocate here. If there's a surgeon that you really like working with, and maybe they go to 2 or 3 different hospitals and you're sitting there as an FA, like, I want to go with them to those other hospitals, but I don't know how to make all that work. And then again, it's from there, what we try to provide is, I like to call it a fractional back office. So if you were to go buy or hire somebody to do, like you said, a lawyer, a CPA, and so on, those are individual costs where since we have everything, we lost her completely.
Yeah, it looks like Kelly's internet dropped out, but she'll join us back again. So, keep going with that thought, and she'll drop back in as her internet comes up again. It looked like it was struggling before it dropped out. So
yeah, the fractional back office portion of it. So again, we tell first assistants that all you do is upload that face sheet. It comes through to us. And then from there, there's certain things that we have to make sure that are on the op note that you're dictated correctly. From there, we have to make sure that there's the CPT code, the procedure that was done for an assistant to even get paid in the first go on. And then from there, depending on your state, for licensing for first assisting, or maybe you're in a state where you can bill Blue Cross Blue Shield, like Georgia. Here in Mississippi, we were billing and collecting Blue Cross Blue Shield up until the beginning of this year. So a lot of things changed for us. We're working on fixing that, working with Blue Cross Blue Shield of Mississippi, because first assisting is huge here in Mississippi, especially along the Gulf Coast. I would say there's more first assistants than there are a CSFA, than there are PAs or RNFAs that are in surgery. So,
yeah, there you are.
Hey, welcome back, Kelly.
See you now. Yeah.
You can see
I didn't have to do anything. I mean, it just came
technical
by
issues.
itself. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So we apologize, but so I didn't mean to interrupt. So you said it seems like in Mississippi, there's more CSFAs working than there are PAs working in the
PAs,
operating room.
RNFAs, right? Which is difficult also because now we have an insurance. It's going to be tricky, but we're going to have to just deal with it. But as other people reach out to me across the country, even say Alabama, as you said before, we can bill. Can we collect? We're gonna try. And again, we guide the person, the first assistant, whoever it is. We do RNFAs, PAs, CSFAs, but as we go across the country, we do realize that almost every first assistant they're noticing the same things. They have a lot of the same initial concerns. If they're going to leave a hospital, a comfortable, cozy W-2, and to go as a 1099 contractor, it's a little scary. It's different. And it's not for everybody. That's for sure. That's probably one of the more candid things we have to talk to people about is if your area, if your volume doesn't match what it is that you're trying to do in your area, then it will not work. And we will tell you that this is not going to work at this time. There's There's other options that we could try, but it's not going to be for every market and every person. No.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like you can definitely save people a lot of time, effort, and walking into a lot of landmines that they don't yet see because you've gone through that, you've forged that process and proven it time and time again.
Which is huge. Yeah.
And yeah, so it sounds like you are, like you just said, for a person that wants to start a surgical first assisting practice, you are the office for that practice. So it sounds like rather than me going out and learning, okay, what do I need? Okay, I want to work for these doctors. They want me. What do I do next? That involves credentialing, getting an accountant, all of that stuff. And it sounds like that you could usher them through that whole process.
Absolutely.
This is what you have to do next. Here's an accountant that we really like, but if not, maybe find one that does this, or we'll give you several options in your area.
Yes, we offer wealth management through some partners that we have out of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. We have a tax attorney that if somebody wants to structure something a certain way, we'll bounce it off them and double check it. But it's not at a cost to the first assistant at this point at all. How many cases are they doing? Which facilities are they at? Are they going to a surgery center? Are they doing ortho, general? Can they bill and collect Blue Cross Blue Shield? Is their state heavy into one insurance versus another? So we have to take in, and then also what is the standard payment amount, or, as they say, a QPA. I am not the biller. We have a billing company that we partner with, that we trust. We've been with them for 15 years. We love them. If you're somebody else out there, maybe looking around and you're like, oh, I know somebody down the road they do billing. I don't feel it's the same personally, especially when we're starting to learn new rules that are ubiquitous. I mean, it covers every insurance. And if those check marks are not, the T's aren't being crossed and the I's aren't being dotted, you're going to see a lot more denials, a lot more. But like you said too, this all started in 2010 when I was walking out of the Air Force, and I had the same problems for myself. It's just, the majority of the time now, I'm already doing all of these things for my cases. So then we have a whole team of people here. We do them for all of those independent. They are 1099. They're not employed, and they keep everything that they have. So if they ever wanted to walk away from Precision, they can. There's no non-compete. We don't take your doctors away from you when, maybe a big company came in and bought up a whole area. And now they're like, well, you have to go do these cases now. You're like, no, those are my doctors. I want to work with them. It's like, well, you signed a non-compete, so they're ours now. I don't understand some of those setups, which is fine. That's why we run things the way we do them at Precision.
So it sounds like you're a business partner. You're not a staffing company and you're not a billing company.
Correct. Yes. Okay. We took everything we've learned over the last 20 years. We've put it into a package that we can reproduce. The biggest thing is creating this pipeline for the first assistant when they come on board. That way they are aware of what they need to do. So say like the dictation, right? And we'll leave this as a pearl for everybody who's out there. If you're an independent surgical assistant right now and you are getting denial after denial and you're not with Precision and you don't understand why, the dictation has to have 3 things: your name, your credential, and the doctor has to say, what did you do in that surgery? Why were you there? It doesn't matter if it's Humana, Blue Cross, United. If they see a reason to not pay that case, they're not going to pay you. And we have business cards that we actually send out to everybody who joins on with Precision. On the back of that business card, it's a small reminder that they can hand to the physician when they're done doing the case or before. Like, hey, doc, by the way, don't forget, these 3 things have to be dictated or else I'm not going to get paid. I mean, we literally try to make everything as smooth and as easy for the first assistant so they can take off and just worry about surgery, worry about finding another doctor, just doing their cases. Maybe their kids play baseball and they want to be able to spend time with them at night and go to all the practices and things like that, where they might not have the time to sit there and chase down the paperwork, turn it in, figure out who's getting paid from where, call the CPA, we handle all of that.
The devil is in the details.
The devil is in the details.
The devil is in the details, and healthcare I mean, I know a lot of fields, but in healthcare especially, and when you want these insurance companies to pay, it definitely. But I want to bring something else up, and as you were talking, it made me think about the accountability part. Like when you're an independent and you're practicing independently, there's a lot of accountability that goes along with that, because audits could come if people question, what did you do during the surgery? Why should we pay you? Did we overpay you? I mean, I'm just making things up off the top of my head, and I'm pretty ignorant about it. But it sounds to me like you would be the person that could help on that front, keeping records straight or letting that first assistant know what you need to be keeping in your office file.
That too. Along with that, the responsibility, even if it's just to get paid, that first assistant has to make sure that they're informing their surgeon of what needs to be, again, on the op note. After that, they have to turn their cases in every single week. So that way that we can process those cases for them. We run around op notes, CPTs, get all this stuff together. If it's a op note that maybe was not dictated correctly, and we have the ability to reach out to those offices on your behalf, we'll reach out, make sure the surgeon puts an addendum, fixes the op note, whatever we need them to do. And then from there, if it's you and I, we say, okay, well, who do you want your cases to go to, and how do you want them processed? You want All Starz? Do you want to roll the dice to see what the payment's going to be like? Of course, I don't recommend that, but there's many options out there for how you can process your stuff. We recommend the people that we use because it's been successful for me, and I'm still doing 12 to 1,400 surgeries a year.
Okay.
So I stay very busy with this.
Right. So yeah, I mean, then and that's a great testament too, that you're in it and you, in other words, just put it in a nutshell, we can learn from your mistake. You've learned from your mistakes, and now we can benefit from that because you've been through it ahead of us. And what a great business model, and what a great service, I think, to first assistants, and especially those of us that don't know a lot about being independent.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're saving people a lot of time, effort, and if you're partnering with you and having your office do the work for us, just what you mentioned there, trying to get in touch with a surgeon or surgeon's office to get an addendum made or a face sheet or something. If you're a busy surgical first assistant and going to one or two facilities with several different doctors, you don't have the time to spend a lot of time on the phone getting this done because you're worried about helping your surgeon, getting the cases done, make sure the patient is safe and all of that. So that alone to me sounds invaluable for all the service and support that you provide. You take 20% off the top of what is that every case that they do through you take 20% off of every case?
Correct. Now we can get into the weeds on that, of course, but to keep it simple, yes, that is exactly how that works.
Okay.
We push for you to get a fair market value contract at that facility. Again, that's for Medicare, Medicaid, TRICARE, denials, and that rate is different everywhere in the country, especially if you're, like you said, if you are in Alabama and maybe where you're at is pretty Blue Cross Blue Shield heavy. Can we bill Blue Cross Blue Shield? Yes, we can. Can we collect on it? Yes, on certain ones. But that's, again, I sidestep those questions. We bring in our billing partner and say it's either one of you. We'll schedule a call with me and you and the billing partner. That way it's all transparent. There's no smoke and mirrors. And it's like, oh, well, I talked to them and it's like, no, in the 20%, you're going to pay the billing partner to do X for X% no matter what. You come with us, that's wrapped into that 20% anyway. We're not charging 20% and then you go to another fee and then that's an extra fee. That's not how this is designed at all. So,
okay. Well, it looks like we lost Kelly again. I'm sorry, guys. It's just been like technical issues galore today. I don't know if there's solar flares going on or what, but so let me just recap what you said. To me, that sounds incredibly valuable and important because we all know it all depends on where you are in the country and like what you mentioned before, what your payer mix is. And for people to understand what that is, it's like what the insurance that's paying for that surgery what the mix looks like. Is it Medicare? Is it Medicaid? Is it
Right.
commercial insurance like Humana or Aetna or United, Blue Care, like Blue Cross Blue Shield, like you said, or TRICARE, whatever. So now there's, as far as I know, in most states, surgical first assistants cannot bill Medicare or Medicaid. So my
Cannot.
question is always, well, what if you're a surgical first assistant in a place that's really Medicare, Medicaid heavy? Is it still possible? But it sounds like you guys would work with intervene on our behalf to work with the facility, whatever facilities you're helping the surgeon at hospital A, hospital B, or surgery
Correct.
center, that you'll go in and say, and help us negotiate a contract that'll say, all right, so for these cases that I can't bill commercial insurance for, they don't have commercial insurance, you'll pay me this fee to do that. And it's financially
Yes.
in their interest to do that because they're not having an employee to do that. So they don't have to pay them retirement. They don't have to pay insurance. They don't have all the overhead costs of having a full-time employee.
So,
So,
and to boot on that, so a full-time employee, you have to think whatever money you're making per hour, roll that into like per month, right? Times 40 times 4. Now you're looking at your monthly rate, times that by 12, add 30%. That's ballpark how much you cost to the hospital.
okay.
Now, if
If
you're
you're
in
an
an
employee
area,
of the hospital, right?
correct, full-time
Okay.
employee. Now, if you're in an area, again, even if it's here in Mississippi where we can't bill Blue Cross Blue Shield,
Okay.
and we're in between an Air Force base and a Navy base,
Mm.
and we make it work every day. It works. It still works. It's that
Okay.
fair market value contracted with your facility, making sure they look at it and it's like, well, if you were here for however many hours a day, we would have paid you X amount of dollars per hour as an assistant. And you're like, yeah, but I come here with my doctor. I already told you if he shows up without me, maybe he'll do 4 cases. But since we've been working together for 20 years, we can knock out 6 or 8. Any CFO is like doing the math on that one. You're like, hey, well, yeah, that checks out. Yeah, wait a minute. This is good. And that's where when we do talk about these contracts, of course, some places there's already a contract set. They already have one that they offer, which again shortens the runway. But if not, then we also have the ones that we use here on the Gulf Coast, the ones that we know of other places in the area or in the US that we work with. So we kind of have an idea based on all of those contracts, what a fair market value looks like, even on an insurance payment rate. We can take some of that information in because we check with our partners, again, the billing partners, to see what does a payment look like for a total knee. What would we expect? Say it was a PA. Are they billing for a total knee? If it's Medicare or Medicaid, either way. So we get to pull the numbers from them and then reevaluate to see if this is something that's going to work in your area based on your volume, based on your doctors, what's your specialty? Is it their surgery center, their hospital? And from there, we can build a contract that'll help you. But again, relationship it's a huge issue. So I like to extend that when we do a new contract, we can reevaluate it every 6 months with the facility. I don't want them feeling like they're getting trapped into something where they're like, oh, we already know what this is about. We had somebody that tried to do that year before. It's like, no, we're different. We're not trying to hurt the hospital. We're trying to create a fair situation so that way this doctor can work with their assistant and make it work for everybody. And if we can bill and collect on insurance, then essentially the hospital gets that person for free for each one of those cases.
Oh, wow. So it sounds like you're pretty labor intensive. You don't just disappear after all the contracts are signed and I can't get a hold of you or whomever can't get a hold of you. It sounds like that.
We joke that we're 5 to 9, not 9 to 5. So
I think you need to be
we're
in healthcare, but that's great. That's a fantastic opportunity. I mean, there's so much that a person that wants to go and start their own independent surgical assistant practice doesn't know, and that to me relieves a great amount of anxiety. And like you said, shortens the runway, because if I've been at places where the surgeons have liked me and they've wanted me to stay, and I've thought about starting in my own first assistant practice there, but I look at their paramedics and I'm like, well, there's no way they're going to do that. But the fact that you offer that ability to work with me and the hospital to come up with reimbursements for those cases that we can't bill commercial insurance for, that to me is worth its weight in gold, because I don't know who to talk to. And it sounds like you guys can find those people to talk to, set up the meetings, and and help me negotiate through that process, help me work through that process where I don't have to try and figure it out all on my own and step on a lot of landmines in the meantime.
And on top of that, say you're going into a new area and
Mhm.
we're doing it on your behalf, and they say, how do you know this works? Have you done this other places? And you're like, yeah, literally. Who do you want a reference? Do you want an OR director's name, a
Mhm.
CEO? Because it's done. We're doing it all the time across the country, and we're helping. Either sometimes it's one first assistant at a time, or maybe we can build a little team of independent first assistants in your area, and you guys can kind of rely on each other and really turn it into teamwork. So say you're sick one day, but the other person doesn't have cases that day. You guys can help each other out.
Oh, that's
So
great. So you're not
yeah.
locked into you're not on an island by yourself as a surgical first assistant. So it sounds like it's a fantastic opportunity. So you can sounds like you guys are built for the surgical first assistant that wants to start their own business and can partner with you, and you can literally walk us through the whole process, offer us the support services that we would have to find ourselves, and if we want to, use the trusted partners that you use on different locations. But does your model that you've come up with, this partnering with people and ushering them through the process, which is probably kind of like a birthing process, does it work in every state?
So I would say not every state.
Obviously, the ones like New York, New Jersey, California, where we're not really
I
recognized.
in and I believe we've talked about this recently. I've been reached out from a
Mhm.
couple people from Michigan. They have their own strict guidelines. Yeah, it has to be. I'd have to double check again, but
Okay.
there's states like Michigan that have very specific rules to first assisting and who can own it and who can run it. Um,
Okay.
so we try to, if we can find a way to make that work, we will
Yeah.
absolutely try. And that's the beauty of it too, is as we hear from all these people across the country,
Mhm.
if it's a similar situation and it's out west or something, and as I'm learning as we go, I was like, oh, this is kind of a solution that maybe could help out where we're at in another state. That's the best part of it. And I reach out to a lot of people, probably 20 some people a week, either on Facebook, LinkedIn. We're not even running like full advertising for the service that we provide. It's right now, it's been a lot of word of mouth, and just if I'm in the office and somebody sends me something, or I get a link sent to me I have a Calendly, a way to schedule a meeting with me, then we take that time and that opportunity. Again, if it's a PA and RNFA, we can help every surgical assistant. The rules don't change much.
Well, that's fantastic. So it sounds like if you're in that position where you think about either you're graduating school and you want to start your own independent practice and you kind of maybe have an idea of how it works. So, or you're thinking about going maybe a hybrid of staying employed part time and working with your favorite physicians or if you're just looking at leaving your employment and starting your own first assisting company, it sounds like the best first step is getting in touch with your company and scheduling a call and going
Yes.
over all of that stuff with you so you can look at it with your experience and say, yes, we've done this before. It looks like it will work for you. Or no, maybe like you said earlier, this probably isn't the right time. Or
Right.
if you do this, that'll work. So it sounds like a pretty invaluable service you're offering to
And
people.
then this is getting in the weeds a little bit, but
Hmm.
those contracts that we have at the facilities, say it's even here locally or one of our teams that's east of here that we have. If we know that you're going to get paid X amount of dollars for a
Hmm.
denial, I prepay you that denial amount on that Friday. Meaning that, say,
Cool.
5, 6 months from now, it wasn't a case that we could put through one of our partners
Hmm.
and it just gets billed on that standard timeline. It's still 20%, but we'll front load that payment based on whatever the denial amount should have been in the beginning. We front that. And then on the back end, whatever the delta is between the two,
Hmm.
you'll get the second half of that payment or whatever it is from insurance then. My goal is
Okay.
to have less low lows, less high highs, so that way you can continue operating week in and week out. That's why we switched it to getting paid every Friday. If something comes through the pipeline,
Mm.
we tack it on to whatever your Friday payment is. So that way you're continuously, I worked for a group that only paid once a month and I hated it. I really didn't care for it. So, and then again, the 20% is, we try to make that as low as possible for everybody. There's other companies out there that do some things and they're 30, 40% or higher, depending on the structure. So
that's fantastic. I think we need more companies like you around, like your company, like PSR and like All Starz, because I think it's changing the game for us. I think our profession's changing. I think this is a great time to be a surgical first assistant, because talking to the people that were around when I first became a surgical first assistant, which was I graduated school in 2014. 2015. We were the only person in the operating room there that was working. If we were independent, and I've never been independent, I've always been employed either by a travel company or by a hospital. So, and I lived and worked in Michigan. I love it. I love Michigan. It's one of my favorite states. But we are the only person working in that operating room that doesn't know if we're going to get paid that day if you're working as an independent. And it was a long, circuitous route to getting that reimbursement. And if you didn't know all of the different pitfalls and landmines along the way, well, then you're doing that case for free. I mean, I remember a very long time ago, David Mediri, and he's done a couple of podcasts with us, and we need to bring him back again because he's just such a great resource. He's been around. He knows a lot. A lot of people know him. But if you don't, he started Mediri Billing Services, which is one of the best surgical billing companies out there. But I remember he gave a lecture at one of the ASA conferences about how do you talk to a surgeon if he finds out you got reimbursed more for a case than he did.
Right.
But the truth of it was, he would say, "Doc, the stack of cases that I bill is this high, and the ones I get reimbursed on are this high." Nobody can live like that. You can't. If you've got a family, you can't hope and pray that you're going to make enough money that year. And it sounds like you take away a lot of that uncertainty, because I've talked to surgical first assistants who have had good billing companies submitted a case like a laparoscopic cholecystectomy, and it took 18 months for them to get reimbursed. And through all of the arbitration and all that BS process, they finally get a check in the mail and it's for $16.
Yep. We got one the other day. We got one the other day for 34 cents.
30. Are you kidding? Yeah. It
still happens.
Ridiculous.
It is.
And I'm not going to go on my rant on how bad the insurance companies are and how terrible people are getting screwed by them, but everybody all around, patients, providers, everything. But it seems like this takes away all that guesswork. Now, what happens if, and I know you said about a denial amount, so make sure I understand that correctly. So let's say I've got a case with United. I submit everything that's required, to you to get it reimbursed. What the op note, face sheet, dictation, everything you guys need. It gets submitted, and you guys pay me whatever rate you're paying me for that case, whatever it is. What happens if it ends up getting denied down the line? Do you take that money back that you've already paid me, or?
Well, that's a great question. So which process would you want? Do you want to send it through billing or through All Starz? Or, because if you're saying you did a case that's United Healthcare, that's something that we could, if you want it to be to All Starz, you can do that.
Yeah. So let's say it went through All Starz then, and it ends up, they do all the appeals and do all the legwork, and it still gets denied, but they've already paid me whatever contracted rate you guys have already agreed on. The surgical first assistant and his company has already agreed on.
So not to make it about All Starz, but this is one of the reasons why they are fantastic. They pay the same rate every single time before the case is billed.
Right.
So it doesn't matter. The denial part goes away. That's where we can also flatten that line out for the hospitals on the contract when they say, well, if it's going to be an HMO or PPO case, I mean, you guys get denials. It's like, not from All Starz. We don't get denials. It flattens that line. That's also my goal. That's why we are aligned, because I want your pay not to fluctuate. So, I mean, once a month you get paid. For me, if we're getting money coming in for you, we're going to go ahead and send it over to you. You see all of the math that goes with it. It's full transparency. You know how our contracts are set up at the facilities. They're on your behalf anyway. So you should know how those contracts are set up. You should know what we're charging the facility, what your cut of that is, all of that. So say it's another case, right? Say it's a workers' comp case instead of a United Healthcare this time.
Okay.
So we bill that through our billing partner. And when that case is just a denial, depending on the facility that we're at, we either take the denial and turn it in and bill that back to the facility. But this is going to be, like you said, maybe it's 13 months later, right? If you're with Precision, then you got paid the denied amount minus 20% 13 months ago.
Okay.
So whatever that agreement is set at that facility, we front load that denial payment. So say it's $150, let's say. We'll pay the $150 minus 20% when you go do that case.
Okay.
So then it's say 13 months down the road, the payment was $300. Well, we paid you $150 of it up front. You get the other $150 minus 20% 13 months later. Which again, we're trying to flatten it out so that way it's not so many high highs and low lows.
Yeah, that's a wonderful opportunity. I mean, that relieves so much anxiety, I think, from somebody who wants to become independent. And I remember when we interviewed All Stars, we had Dan and Lou on. And I remember when he said that is that they are taking all the risk. I mean, you submit your face sheet, you submit everything. So that's why, like you said, if you put it through All Stars, I think that's what they're offering right there is a game changer. You get that money if you submit, if it's a billable case with a commercial insurance and you submit everything that they need, you get that money. It's your money. They're not going to come take it back. They take all the risk of getting it. They have to do all the legwork and all the arbitration and all the appeals and all that crap.
It's
for you, but yeah,
it's a transfer of risk.
Exactly. And rather than me trying to do it and taking the time, and if I'm by myself, unless my wife is my biller and can do that full time, there's no way if you're a busy surgical first assistant, you can do all this. You can't. You can't.
And no offense to your wife if she is a biller. They don't do it like
exactly.
These big surgical billing companies do a fantastic job. So there might be rules that you don't even, like we said earlier, those 3 things that have to be in the op note. Christopher Sweebe, see, what did I do in the surgery? Why was I there?
Right.
Those have to be on every op note, even the ones going to Humana, the ones going to All Stars. Because if those things are not there, we're seeing them denied even on cases that are not HMO PPO, where it was already a roll of the dice and people are like, oh, you don't get paid on that. It's like, well, there's certain things that have to happen. Certain metrics have to be met. The other problem, my buddy, you don't know what you don't know. And that's what we're here to do. Now, and we'll work with you, even if you don't sign with Precision, we'll still help you. We'll still have these conversations. I'll guide you. We'll go over your market. We'll figure out if it's a good fit or not. And if not, you're like, I kind of want to do it on my own for a while. I'm like, sure, we'll be here. We'll be here. If you ever need us, we'll be here. Because if not, I mean, I learned that from David.
Yes.
He's a wealth of knowledge, whether you went with this company or didn't. And
exactly.
I've always respected that about him. And I was like, there should be more of that, less gatekeeping, less hiding what's in the contract, hiding how much you got paid. You know, there's no point. We all have to be able to navigate how things are changing very quickly.
Yes.
And if we don't have a leg up on all of this and try to standardize some things as we go, then that's why if you're a single person trying to do this on your own somewhere else, you don't have that national infrastructure and knowledge of people. With us, now you do. It's at your fingertips.
Yep. It sounds like the more we all stand together, the better we do, rather than try to be a bunch of independents. We're independents together, if that makes any sense. But,
independently together. Yes.
And it sounds to me that, well, people could say, well, 20%, that's a lot of money. But for me, that 20% is, I think it's number one, very fair for all the services that you provide to add that peace of mind to keep me from making those mistakes that I don't know about yet, because I don't, like you just said it earlier, I don't know what I don't know. And if you're coming out of school or you're brand new or you want to start out, I mean, I came out of school, I thought I was going to be independent until I had a couple of 3-hour conversations with David. Like you said, he's always free and generous with his time, and he'll talk to you about it for a long time. And there was so much stuff I didn't understand. I didn't know what a paramix was. I thought, hey, I just submit it, get it. But it sounds like partnering with PSR and other companies like All Stars stacks as much in my favor as I can do. I take as much risk out of it as I can by doing that, because there is uncertainty and risk in this, but it sounds like I can mitigate that to its lowest possible denominator by using companies like yours and All Stars. But it seems to me like it's still my company in my area, it doesn't sound like you mentioned it earlier, that there's no non-compete clause. I can end my contract with you tomorrow, but still work with my doctor, still go to the same
Yes.
hospital, still
Yes.
bill insurance. I could bill it through somebody else. It just sounds like you're a partnership that's there to help me get started, get on my feet. And how is this done? Is this all done like via teleconferencing? Do we have calls like this when we get started?
Calls like
Or
this.
do
Yep.
you?
We Google, or I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes it's just on the phone, depending on where we're at on things. If it's over the phone or in a text message or whatever. I had a really good meeting with a very nice girl and her physician last week, and we had a 3-way. I think we did it on FaceTime, and
Okay.
it was great because the surgeon came from a place that we already have a team set in another state,
Mm.
so he's advocating for her to be an independent, but he wanted to make sure that he was on the call with me to make sure there wasn't a sleight of hand or
I gotcha.
whatever. And then once we had about 5 minutes into it, and he's like, "Oh, we're
Oh.
good. This is great." So,
Oh,
and
he
it
wanted to
just does.
protect her to make sure she wasn't getting taken advantage of.
That's what I try to do too, to make sure
Uh,
people don't get taken advantage of, because there's a lot of it going
mhm.
on. I'm sure that's not what people think at the time, but
Sure.
from my overview, I think it is some of it's, you might want to call it business practices, but I think some of them are,
Mhm.
are more unfair than others. So
Yeah, that's true, and being in this as long as I have been and hearing the stories around, I mean, there are companies out there that can promise you a lot more, but it's all words until what do they deliver? And do they back you up when the chips are down and you need their help? Are they nowhere to be found, or can I get you with a phone call? And
I
it sounds like you offer that kind of service.
we do. And that was the other thing too, is with building a team, I think we have not fully done it yet, but instead of something along the lines of, if you join Precision, we'll give you stock options or something like that. So if we can build a team in your area, we'll
Mhm.
do profit sharing 100%. Money today in your pocket,
Mhm.
whatever that percentage is, split evenly amongst everybody that's in the team, even though it's all independent people. It's Precision Surgical's money that we're like, dude, you
Mhm.
guys earn this. We'll profit
Mhm.
share with you. What, you don't want shares in a company that's never going to potentially sell. So the shares are just kind of that dangling, not a dangling carrot, but we try to make sure that we're building more equity into those areas that people already have it. Maybe they already have a team and they're like, we like this idea
Mhm.
better. Let's all go do this instead. We're here for it.
And when you say team in your area, what do you mean by that? Other
So
like
say you ended up as a independent first assistant in whichever city. And
okay.
now we've got 4, 5, 6, 8 of you that are independent, but we're all with Precision. You
Oh,
get to
gotcha.
build a team out of independent practitioners, and we'll support that with profit sharing as opposed to offering shares of a company or something.
I mean, like, helping each other out with cases and stuff like that, or
E-
okay.
e- Even if it's just geographically in that area, you guys are a team. We had a spine guy over here. Maybe we ran into
Okay.
somebody that does a lot of general GYN. Those guys can help each other on each other's cases. I have
Mhm.
not done a Da Vinci robot in 16 years,
Oh,
15
wow.
years probably, but I do all orthopedics. So that's just what happened. That's the path I took. So maybe there's people out
Mhm.
there that's like, hey, we can help each other on each other's cases with our doctors. And I love that idea. I love having independent people, but that are collectively helping each other get something done.
Gotcha. Rather than starting your own group
Yeah.
per se,
Right. It's
so
like
it's like
it's
a
being on
loosely
teams. It's like
affiliated
being
group.
right. It's almost
Mm,
like when we were in the military. We help each other
right.
out, get the same job done that we're shooting for.
Mm,
So
that's wonderful. So now do you have like and I know there's so many variables that go into this, so if you can't answer it, I understand, but if somebody talks to you and they say, "Listen, I do the majority of cases I do are robotic in nature, and a lot of them are hernias, a lot of them are colon resections, a lot of them are cholecystectomies." Do you say, "This is what we reimburse for a cholecystectomy, a robotic cholecystectomy. This is what we reimburse for this. This is what reimburse for that," or is it more nuanced than that? It depends on that particular area, that particular insurance company, whether it's Aetna or United. Do they pay differently for the same thing? Or is it kind of standardized across the board?
So United and most, I believe, Aetna's, those can go through All Stars. So we would be left with the others that these other cases that we would then reach out to our billing partners, ask them, I don't even need to know who these people are who with the billing. I'm like, hey, do we have other people that are in the Cleveland area? Oh, maybe we do. What do those payments look like? QPA is about this for that, a little bit of this for that. So we can report those back to you and say, man, I really want to get more in depth. Like, okay, well, we will have a conversation, you and I, with the billing partners. That way you can ask them directly the information that you want to know. We don't gatekeep any of that here.
Right.
And I'm not the biller. I'm not the best person to probably answer all of those questions. I'm trying to bring everybody together. That way we have the best services to choose from in our arsenal. So that way we're all, again, as a team, doing the best we can to navigate a very changing landscape. So,
okay, I understand. And I even just made that mistake right there. I mean, you're a business partner who offers the services that we need, that can put us in contact with the support services that we need, whether it's a tax attorney or an accountant, tax attorney, or biller, or office work.
Maybe you need medical insurance.
Right.
Maybe you need
exactly. I was gonna say that.
So maybe if you need insurance, we have people for if it's medical. Hey, I want to go independent, but I've got 2 kids. I'm a single mom. How does this work? Or I call somebody and they're like me. It's like, oh, I'm covered by the VA. I'm like, well, then you don't even have to worry about that part. You don't need medical insurance unless you want. And then from there, if you wanted something more, maybe short-term disability, something along those lines, we have those people that we will send you over to them. We don't make any money off of any of that, which is just a service that we try to provide for people. That way they have the full lineup to go independent is what we strive for every day, try and make it better every day. So
I got you. So a tremendous support service for that. That's fantastic. I mean, it removes so much anxiety, so many questions. And it sounds like that if somebody's ready and willing to make that step, they can set up a time to talk with you and your billers, and then you can sit down and go over everything, like you mentioned earlier, their area, their payer mix, the hospitals, whether they're going to 1, 2, 3 hospitals, or if they're going to surgery centers or whatever. And you can say, hey, listen, this is what you might be able to earn in this area, or doesn't look like the time is right for you because the pair mix just isn't there, or you're not going to sell them. It sounds like you're not going to sell them their sunshine to bring them in, and then they're toiling and not bringing anything in and not making any money, but working. And now they don't have the reserve that they had before because they're not working at a hospital where they can rely on a guaranteed paycheck. I think that's what a lot of people who are employed now are afraid to leave, is that, I may not be making much. And yes, I see independents that are making such and such amount every year, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. And I've got a family, or I've got this, or I've got that. And I just can't leave all this based on hope. I need a little more information than that. And it sounds like you guys can relieve a lot of that anxiety and provide a lot of those services, almost like a turnkey surgical first assistant practice. Like you need this, this, and this. Here we go. We'll set you up with those people. We'll give you several options to choose from. You could use them or not. It's all up to you. It sounds like it's like a big a la carte menu you offer in building somebody to build their own practice.
And if somebody just says, what did you do? I'm like, these are the people we use. These are the things that we've seen that works the best for us. I mean, it's changed a lot, even in the last probably 2 years. The options that are out there that are there's less of a lift with some of the companies that are out there that we partner with and that we just do business with. But at the end of the day, when we have these conversations, the first assistant needs to understand that it's them. It's on them. They are the ones they have to have the courage to talk to their doctor and be like, I want to do all of your cases. And he's like, well, I go to 3 different hospitals. Well, maybe I stay W-2 here at this hospital and I can't, we'll figure something out for that. But the other 2 places, I own that surgery center and they gave me a block of time. So we go over there. All right, well, we can make these 2 work, stay W-2 there, and we'll go 1099 at these 2 places. I mean, we'll mold it to however it is you need, but fundamentally you have to be the one that's like, I want to work with you, sir, ma'am. I want to be your first assistant. if you'll have me, will you help me do that? Yes. And then next phone call, it would be Precision Surgical Resources. So,
Okay.
and help you set that up. That way you're not doing it on. That's why I say it's,
Right.
you're
not doing it
independent,
by
but you're not
yourself.
alone. You're not alone. Right.
Yep. You're not walking in the dark. You provide that candle in the dark to help guide the people starting their own practice.
Absolutely.
It goes back to what we talked about David again. And that guy's such a fantastic, I mean, he's done so much for our profession and helped a lot of people, and he's always free with his information. But he says at the end of the day, do not become independent if you do not want to run your own business. If you don't think you can run your own business, don't even attempt it. And it sounds like while you guys provide a lot of those support services and answer a lot of those unknown questions, at the end of the day, it's still up to that surgical first assistant to grow their business, to provide the support, to always be there, to be diligent and detail oriented about getting everything done and in on time, and providing
Yes.
everything that is needed to get reimbursed for those cases and what's needed to stay successful and stay independent. Because if you're missing half of your cases with a surgeon, you're not going to be working with that surgeon very long.
Yep.
So sounds like it's just not autopilot. Like, okay, I'm partnering with PSR. Now I'm done. I can just do only the cases I want to do. I could do 3 cases a week and make $180,000 a year.
Right.
You know,
Right.
there's some people that think that. I mean, and people who don't know anything about surgical assisting think we make that kind of money, independence. And I'm not independent. Like I said, I work for a locums company. So,
Right.
but
And I do probably 30 to 35, sometimes more surgeries in a week.
wow.
While we run the business, and, you know,
Damn.
be on the phone. But I laugh. I'm like, this is the happiest I think I've ever been. This
That's
is
wonderful.
the best job I've ever had, is helping people navigate this to do a job that I already love.
Right.
It's just, you don't become a first assistant because you don't like to help people. It's
Right.
just,
Yep.
now it's kind of like the thing that you already naturally do, and you love it. And it's, for me, work is fun every day. Like,
Right. And I think it offers the opportunity for a surgical first assistant to get paid what they're worth,
absolutely.
because you bring a lot to that.
And have a structure that if you did go talk to somebody, you say, well, hey, this is how it's done. And they're like, where? You're like, everywhere. We do this everywhere. This is the way it has to be done. Because if not, then like you said, you're going to get paid on 2 or 3 cases a week. How does this work? This doesn't make any sense. So we demonstrate, show, and then again, just, it's the process. We have a process set for everything that we do. So we teach you the process, show you, educate you, and then teach you how to do it completely on your own. And then I'm there to guide, to help, answer questions. We had one of our other RNFAs, she called, she's like, hey, can you do a rundown of all my cases? What's pending, what's been paid, whatever. Like, yeah, give me a minute. And we can produce those quickly, as opposed to maybe somebody, I don't know how other places run what they do, but try to be very responsive to the requests of our people. Because again, we're working for them now, essentially,
Right.
helping them.
Okay. And you offer complete transparency, it sounds, with that.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely. We do that. We do the very, very, very best we can with all of that. Yes.
so if I'm trying to start a surgical first assistant practice with several, whatever, in my area, wherever I am, do you ever physically go out to that location to help them get started if they need it?
I would love to. We're on the brink of a couple larger things happening right now.
Okay.
In that, yes, that's the full. I 100% would do that, and I've offered that along the way. Depending on where it is, I'll go. I'll fly to you. We'll sit down with the CEO. Like I said, for me, this is becoming more, or it's not liberating, but it is at the same time. It's guiding, helping. I think that's really the most important. Like I said, and like, again, like you said too, it's the transfer of risk.
Yes.
That we also help out with, as everything coming to Precision Surgical Resources and helping you get those contracts and everything else. So
Well, that's wonderful. That's great.
It's good. Yes. We think so.
Yeah. I'm so grateful for people like yourself. So if there's anything I didn't cover, is there anything you want to talk about that you think we missed? Or
I think the thing you brought up was, you said, what are you building for 5 to 10 years out? That one's going to be cool. So,
okay.
So Precision Surgical I mean, we are builders. We are building, that's what we try to do here. Not just the back office stuff that we're doing. We're working on a grant here in Mississippi where we're trying to partner with a school that I don't want to announce it too much yet.
Sure.
And the grant hasn't been awarded yet, but it would allow for us to be able to have a small group of people want to become certified surgical technologists. They would get paid to go to school. They don't have to pay for their school to get an associate's degree when they're done. And then after that, they spend a few years at the hospital. I forgot exactly the term on it. And then they're released to go do whatever. They could go to nursing school. They could go to pharmacy school, whatever. So we're bringing that here because we want to continue keeping people certified, keep an influx of people that are credentialed to do this job. I think that's super important also, is our certifications.
Oh, definitely. So the scholarship is for people to become surgical techs or surgical first assistants?
Surgical techs right now. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
So this would be,
there's a huge need for them. I mean, they're in shortage. I mean, it seems like COVID, just people didn't go back to work. And I understand why people don't. I mean, that is one of the most maligned and misunderstood jobs. It evolves so much, yet in a lot of places, they're not paid what they're worth. So as a result, it's hard for people to find good surgical techs. And it sounds like that's a wonderful opportunity. Somebody can say, hey, I like this. I think I want to try it, but I don't want to go in. I don't want to freaking pay a private institution $35,000 and then come out owing that kind of money. And I'm not sure I'm really going to like it. It sounds like you're taking that risk away too. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of great things on the horizon. That's a fantastic opportunity for people. I mean, that's amazing.
And we, like I said, I've always been a builder in that way. Even when people left the Air Force, there's a program that would pay for a certification. I called Dennis Stover over at Meridian. I said, hey, this is the outline for the program. Can you align your educational program to what the department, the DOD, I guess Department of War now, whatever they want it to look like? Can you make sure that you align with the military? And then that way this program will pay for me to go to first assistant school. And he's like, absolutely. So they worked with the office, made everything do whatever. And that was now a repeatable process that somebody leaving the military, I think it's called the Air Force Cool program now, that again, a repeatable process for somebody to be able to go to first assistant school.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. I'll tell you, another thing to me that allows that lends a lot of bit of credibility to me, myself, is that you yourself are a practicing surgical first assistant and you love this profession as much as I do. I look at it as a vocation. It's not a job for me. And it sounds like you approach it in the same direction, and that you hold yourself to a high standard, but you know what this job rewards and you want to provide that for other people. And I could see that. And you get excited about talking this and offering. It seems like it's giving you a lot and you are excited to offer that to a lot of other people.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I of course it's hard work. That's what I'm saying.
Of course. Yeah.
When you meet people that want to go independent, they have to understand that it's an uphill job every single day. It's because even at some hospitals, not all, and some surgery centers, not all, but when you're a scrub tech, maybe if that's your OR, maybe you do every other case, or maybe that person was the assistant, you're the scrub, and you kind of cycle through, where you're the assistant and you're doing 8 total joints in a day, and you're doing all 8 with that physician also.
Yep.
So it's show up early, it's help with the first patient if you can, positioning, doing whatever. But from there on out, it's like you need to learn how to, you have to put processes in place to make sure that you don't miss things also. So it's like, I forgot to grab the second face sheet. I'm like, you have to set that up. Either they have to send them to you before, you have to go get them before your day starts, something, and we try to help people with that process also, just even if it's building out an alarm or whatever it is, of course, because the more consistency that you have, the less variability your day is going to have also. And that transforms into your cases too. Because if the op notes aren't done correctly, if they're not turned in on time, if so I'm a coach, but I'm also a cheerleader. One of your questions, right, was like something cool that we've heard from other people, and the response that I get back, and it's not a pat on my back. It's just like, this works. This is really good. It's like they've noticed the change once they've come on board with us, definitely. So
That's wonderful. It sounds like
yeah,
it's a wonderful service you're offering people, or a wonderful opportunity that you can help people achieve on their own. Because at the end of the day, it's still the onus is still on them to do all that work. And if you think you're gonna do it and it's gonna be easy in the beginning, it's not. But
it's
it sounds like you're not having to deal with all that and then all the other stuff you don't know on top of it. It sounds like you're
right.
like you said, you're a coach and you're a cheerleader, and you can keep people from making those mistakes that you made in the past. And it sounds like it's a wonderful opportunity for, I think, these great things for our profession that are turning around now and happening. I'm so grateful that there's people like yourself out there, and David and All Stars, and I know there's other companies that do it as well. And we're looking forward to talking to all of them. But we'd like to have you back again in the future to keep us up to date and keep talking, and maybe we can talk to some of the people that have used your program to
Oh,
achieve,
that'd be great.
what
Yeah.
they've wanted to, and they can talk to us about what the process was like for them, and tell us exactly the points you're pointing out about what how they had to design processes for or stay up to date on, and make sure that these are the things I need to focus on now to make sure, as opposed to when I was employed, this is what I had to focus on, but now the
It's
onus is
the
on me. But
it's the structure. And again, it's learning that structure as you go. And it
Mhm.
is difficult in the beginning. But once people are up and running, it's interesting too, because the people that are with us, that does free up more time where now somebody's like, hey, I ran into another doctor and they're over here at this surgery center. I'm like, let's go, let's get it.
Yeah.
Let's build it out. But again, I find enjoyment. I do, I like it a lot. It's
Mhm.
challenging, but again, we're building that structure out for people who otherwise maybe they wouldn't have been as courageous maybe.
Mhm.
And we just let them know that we're there to help. Definitely, we're there to guide. But ultimately, they're the rock star. I can't be them. I can't help their surgeons like they do. I can't. They are standing completely on their own 2 feet. It is their business. They are business owners. There's responsibility. There's risk.
Right.
Even like you said, even though we mitigate as much of it as we can, they still have to understand that there's a large responsibility that goes with becoming an independent first assistant. So
Great. That's a great way to put it. And I think, but it
yeah,
sounds like the responsibility is incredible, but it sounds like the rewards are worth it as well. And it sounds like when you're successful because it's all you. While you partnered with that person, helped them along the way, it's still them at the end of the day doing all the cases, getting
mhm,
new surgeons if they want to do that, but still providing a good service every day to their patients is what makes somebody successful, I think. And
absolutely.
dotting the I's and crossing the T's.
Yep. And we meet people along the way. There's a lady that I know that used to run something kind of like Precision. We're working with her to help get some extra training for another first assistant somewhere else. Get them brushed up with the Da Vinci rep. Her and I spoke. She spoke to another person. So we're going to try to get him just a little bit extra education I was like, man, this would be great. He's working with a doctor that does more Da Vinci's. He does Da Vinci's all the time, but this rep is that surgeon's rep. So I was like, let's get him and them together. And that way, before he even ever gets in the OR, he's prepared, ready to
Yeah.
go to help just that surgeon specifically. And we
Oh,
don't
that's
charge for
wonderful.
that. There's no exchange of money. That's just good people doing good things to help
Yes.
the profession. So
That's wonderful. I'm so
yeah.
grateful. Thank you again for taking the time to talk to us
Oh,
about
thank
this,
you.
and we look forward to having you back. Do you wanna tell our audience on how they can get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have I always forget the phone number.
That's okay. I'll put
So,
it up. I'll put a link to your company in the description, and I'll flash something on there for your information. I'll put it on the screen as well, but if you wanna tell
okay.
people who are maybe just listening and not watching this, how they
Yeah,
can get
it's
hold of you.
precision-surgical.net. A little wordy, but we try to put a really good view of what it is that we offer on there with, giving as much information as we possibly can.
Mhm.
From there, realistically, it's you got to reach out. We need to have a conversation. Again, they start at 30 minutes. I've had
I
a couple
bet.
go about 3 hours long, depending on how interested that person is right at that moment. But we try to do about a half hour to an hour first phone call, and then we'll try to scoot back up a couple weeks later. That way you can kind of get lay for whatever it is that you're trying to really do, because it is a process to clarify the vision for that person in that area. Like, they have to be the ones that say, oh, I can do that, but I can't do this. I'm like, correct. So once they begin to understand their market, then I can say, okay, what are your options? This is what you can do. And just give them the options that we know work, so that way they can venture out, or sometimes it's dipping a toe in, but it makes it able for them to go out and be independent, which is pretty cool.
That's great. So thanks again.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Christopher Sweebe from Precision Surgical Resources. Thank you so much for taking the time to explain to us a great and unique opportunity for surgical first assistants out there. And I hope to have you back again and have some of your success stories back, and we could talk to them. Thank you very much.
I'd love that. Thank you.
You're welcome. And sorry, Kelly couldn't finish out with us, but it looks like we're having internet issues. So
yeah,
we apologize
that's all right.
for that. Thank you for joining us today. We invite you to like, comment, and subscribe to our podcast. Feel free to look us up on Facebook at The Surgical Assistant Podcast. If you like, you can also email us at thesurgicalassistantpodcast@gmail.com. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Content of this podcast is created for surgical assistants and is educational only. It is not intended to diagnose, treat, or offer medical advice on surgical conditions. No patient-specific information is shared, and all HIPAA guidelines will be adhered to.